Hey, what's up, everybody? Que paso, que paso. Good evening. Thanks for jumping on board. We got Harry in Oklahoma. We got Kingsport, Tennessee with Brian on board. Right on, right on. It's kind of funny before we get started. I was just looking at some doodles when I went to my gardening boot camp, Mittleider Gardening Boot Camp in Cameron, Missouri, 2 years ago or last year. I can't remember. I was just reading some doodles here and just kind of funny. Some I doodled. Humans are equal molecules. Basically, molecules are part of humans. Molecules have no ability to choose how to act, yet humans do. How is that? Interesting. Molecules, no ability to choose, plus molecules, no ability to choose, equal humans. So adding the addition of a molecule which can't choose its path to another molecule which can't choose its path equals a human being which can choose its path. I find that interesting. Does that make any sense? So yeah, yeah. Actually, I want to bring. This is crazy. If I don't know if I could be able to find it, this is nuts though. If I can find this, just while we're waiting, hold on just a second. Oops, hold on a second. Professor Two, did you all know that the hold on a second, I gotta switch accounts. Did you all know that the guy from Wizard Oz, not the Tin Man, who's the guy who was scared? The freaking Scarecrow. He had a handgun. Did you all know that? Pretty crazy, ask me. Did you all know this? The Scarecrow had a firearm, a handgun. Oh, that's not crazy. All right, so I want to show you something here. This is nuts. If we can find, yeah, right here. This is crazy. All right. Not Tin Man, it was a Scarecrow. Scarecrow had a handgun. In this realm, there's no way the Scarecrow had a handgun when we were growing up. No way. No way. But now he has a handgun. So just remember, the Mandela effect doesn't mean you can go back and find it. So yeah, like if the passages in the Bible have changed, like there's no more lion lays down to the lamb. It's the wolf lays down to the lamb now. It's not the lion. We all know it's the lion. I mean, G.K. Chesterton had many instances of saying lion. Everybody knows it's the lion lays down to the lamb. That's not the case anymore. The Bible doesn't say that. The Bible says the wolf lays down to the lamb. And you can read your own, and you say, oh, I guess it always was. I guess it always was the wolf. No, it wasn't the wolf, man. It's nuts. This is the Mandela effect. And what I initially thought is that the Mandela effect was you could go back to prove that, whatever it was, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like that. Something has changed. I don't know what it is. It's nuts, but that doesn't absolutely at all take away my belief in the supernatural. In fact, is the creator of all the world. I'm more believing in God, the creator, than I ever was before I even heard the Mandela effect, because it just shows you the supernatural being can do anything the supernatural being wants. And the supernatural being wants to change past words, he can. Now, there's also something too. If the devil can do lots of bad things as well, changing what the devil do, changing water to wine or something like that, I can't remember. If the devil can do that, then the devil can also change back bad. He can change past stuff as well. So it's very interesting. I haven't thought too much about it, but just we all know it wasn't the wolf and the lamb, but it was always the lion lays down with the lamb. But it's just because alliteration, Josh. Lion lays with lamb. No, there's always that. We all know this is nuts. Now, if you look in your Bible, it'll say the wolf. It's crazy. Crazy. We all know this, and yet this is what in Mandela effect. You go back and you look in your Bible, and you'll say, "Oh yeah, I guess it does say the wolf lays down the lamb." Thus, we were wrong. No, it's been changed. Anyway, so check this out. I want to go into this real quick. This is nuts. Anyway, so remember, my whole point I started this was to say a molecule which has no determination ability plus another molecule which has no determination ability equals a human being which has an ability to determine things. If that's not crazy, I don't know what it is. So there's something more going on there, and I'm going to show you. It's the divine spark. Watch this, and I'll probably get banned because I'm showing this. Don't care. Can y'all see that? A flash. A flash occurs at fertilization. If that's not crazy, a flash. I mean, it occurs at fertilization, a divine spark. And it happens with mice too. They've done that with mice. So they're saying, well, Josh, are you saying a divine spark occurs to all living things? Apparently so. Apparently so, because all living things are from God. It's amazing to me. It's amazing. We have the atoms that create us and everything have no ability to predetermine. And yet, with that divine spark that is humanity, what I say humanity, consciousness. I mean, do mice have conscience? I don't know. Do I care to know? I'd rather we didn't test on them, but whatever. The facts are we are human beings made in God's image. I just find it amazing to me. It's crazy. Yeah, and just what some of the stuff I don't pay attention well in class, and this is when I was going through my Mittlider gardening boot camp. I was just happened across, just write down some notes where I wasn't paying attention. I've never been like that before. But again, dark, no light. Dark is the absence of light. Dark is the absence of light. Add some more darkness is the absence of light, and you equal light. Okay, so dark plus dark equals light. It's kind of like nothing plus nothing equals something. It doesn't. It literally makes no sense unless there's a divine intervention. I don't get why people are so intimidated by this. We can't talk about God, the creator. You can call it intelligent design. I don't care. I don't get why people are so just obliterated by the evolutionists. It's weird to me, man. I'm like, why? Why would you be so intimidated by these people? And I'm going to share with you something else too. It's very interesting. So I was reading my man. I forgot the dude's name. Oh, I'm not going to find it. Actually, maybe I will. Hold on a second. We're going to find this, and then we'll get cracking. Oops. There. I can find this. Yeah. All right. Sweet. And I got this. Yeah. All right. Cool. So we're gonna just read a little bit about the bullying of these science people. It's nuts. String theory summarized. I can't read that. I just had an awesome idea. Suppose all matter and energy is made of tiny vibrating strings. Well, okay, what would that imply? I don't know. So I'm not sure what that. I don't get it. But anyway, so I want to read this to you real quick right here. I just posted this right now. Are you coming to bed? I can't. This is important. What? Someone's wrong on the internet. I thought that was pretty fun. All right, so I want to go into this right here. You got to make up your mind now. David Zierler, the oral historian at the American Institute of Physics, has done many in-depth interviews with theoretical physicists in recent years. The theoretical physicist people are losing the ground, which is good. Theoretical physicists are losing ground. Today, I came across a 2020 interview with Shelley Glashow, which is very interesting. Glashow was my undergraduate advisor at Harvard, where I was a student from 1975 to 1979. From what I remember, his office was more or less next door to Steven Weinberg's. It is well known that they had been close friends in the same class at Bronx High School of Science and at Cornell. Towards the end of my time at Harvard, I had heard that their friendship was over and they were barely on speaking terms. But I never knew what happened. In the fall of 1979, they worked together with Abdus Salam, awarded the Nobel Prize for the work on the unified electroweak theory. Glashow explains how, from his point of view, by the late 1970s, I began thinking of myself as a Nobel contender. So I want to start real quick there. I began to think of myself as a Nobel contender. Isn't that interesting? So you're already starting to say, oh man, I might be in line to get the Nobel Prize. So if you think of yourself as a Nobel contender, what's the first thing that sounds to me like you have to do? You have to appease the people who vote on the Nobel Prize. I began by thinking of myself as a contender for the Pope. Thus, I have to appease the cardinals or whoever the hell it is that vote on me. I mean, we all know this, which means you can't be too out of the mainstream. And I thought that was interesting. All right. But I was under the impression that my old friend Steven Weinberg was doing everything in his power to keep the prize for himself and Salam. In particular, at a conference he attended in Tokyo, he went out of his way to avoid mentioning my name at all while presenting the history of the weak interaction theory. I got very upset by that, and it was an issue which terminated our friendship. In the summer of 1979, I was invited to a meeting in Stockholm to discuss the current state of physics. Prior to a meeting, I sent a transcript of my talk to Steve. He was violently against my giving the talk because it examined various alternatives to what was then known as the Weinberg-Salam theory. In fact, it was an open-minded talk in which I was discussing whether their, or more properly, our theory was correct. But with such a heated discussion, I eventually had to simply hang up on it because I had no intention of revisiting my talk, and I did not. Let's see. And what was your sense of why this was so unacceptable to him? He thought it would endanger the Nobel Prize that he had campaigned for and anticipated for Salam himself. A copy of Weinberg's Tokyo's papers right here. In an interview, Glashow was scornful of Salam's work in the campaign to get him part of the prize. Recall that Salam made a great deal of noise about why the prize should be given to him. I've been told there were dozens and dozens of nominations of Salam. In fact, there's a whole paper written about his shenanigans, written by Norman Dombey. My Nobel Prize, depending on that one paper written in 1960. Steve's Nobel Prize, depending exclusively on that one paper he wrote in 1967. So the question arises, what did Salam do? He introduced the Electroweak model in 1964, but that was 3 years after I did it. He copied my work, but did not cite me. All right, anyway, he also claims to be the first. He did what each of us had previously done, but much later. So why did he get a prize? Very simply, he was nominated many times. And because he was the director of the International Center for Theoretical Physics in someplace in Italy, and was very close with the directors of physics institutes in many countries, almost 100 different institutions. And many of them wrote letters by his instruction, using his words in some cases, encouraging the Nobel Committee to give him a prize. Can we stop this freaking scientism, man? I hate that crap. I hate it. I don't know if that happens in economics. I guarantee it does. I was listening to a podcast with an economics guy who was like waited with bated breath on the day that he was going to be awarded the Nobel Prize. And I was like, so you guys are campaigners, man. You're no different than Boris Johnson. You're campaigners, is what you guys are. And so Salam gets it because he freaking greases the palms to all these people he knows. Is it because of his work in physics? Who the hell knows? Does it matter? No. None of this stuff. Theoretical physics, crazy. It's nuts. Everybody knows that. Who wants to think about it a little bit? I'm just sitting there thinking, the people who get the prize should be the dissidents. The people who say, I challenge the orthodox. But it's not, man. The people who get the prize are the people who sit there and fall into line like we're dress in a formation for the general inspecting your platoon. It's freaking nuts. And they can all kiss my big, fat, shiny behind. The idea that we're intimidated by these fools, man. Oh, theoretical physicists, they tell us evolution's here. Why? Ooh, because they're smart. Why? Oh, you got a Nobel Prize. Why? It's freaking dumb. Stop it. Stop it. The idea that life came from I don't even want to get in the Big Bang. All right, I'm going to stop there. All right. Anyway. Oh, yeah, dude. String theory is such a clown show. Everybody knows it, who has a brain to think about. And if you ask me why, I don't know. Because I just don't care. I really don't care. I just find it funny that all these guys are trying to debunk God and they have all this is why my recent diatribes against Einstein is very interesting to me. Because I'm sitting there thinking, this all came from this guy. Don't forget, Einstein worked at the U.S. Patent Office. Just throwing it out there, U.S. Patent Office, all these patents came in front of him. Interesting. I'm just throwing it out there for all you Einsteinians who say special theory of relativity has been proven. Okay, hey, we're gonna get on it. Let's go on here. All theory. It's all the same thing. Climate change. And people can't see this now after what happened the last 2 years with the Imperial College of London, Neil Ferguson, the IMHE. What's that guy that Joe Alsterholm? I'll never forget. I'm not a fan of Joe Rogan. Never been a fan of Joe Rogan. The guy's a clown. He's controlled opposition, bar none. Alex Jones is too. But I'll never forget this. But I know a lot of young men listen to Joe Rogan. And it's probably in a good way in some regard. In other ways, it's not because he's a clown. I mean, here's a guy who says it's okay. Anyway, long story short, Joe Rogan's a clown. but at least he's allowing young men a different perspective other than just being, no testosterone. So that's a good thing. But I never forget, I was walking, really, I was walking. I just came across the Osterholm. I had no idea who Osterholm was at that point. And I just said, Osterholm was talked about the C19, and he was so scared. Joe Rogan was. He was lit. And I said, man, you got no soul, dude. You've sold your soul to the devil or something, because there's no way you should be that scared, dude. No way. I'm sorry. He was so scared. Osterholm scared him to death. And I guarantee a lot of righteous young men got scared because of that interview with the Osterholm that Rogan did. I said, man, I literally, if you wanted to set this up any better, get Osterholm on with Joe Rogan and scare the hell out of young men who are trying to build testosterone in terms of being real men. And that will quickly take the wind out of the sails of the guys who are fighting against insanity. And I'll never forget that. And I will never, I can't say I'll never forgive, but I will never forget the insanity that came from the IMHE over in Washington. Osterholm, I think, is at Minnesota. Memory serves. I think Osterholm's at Minnesota. Minnesota. Lots coming out of Minnesota, right? The Alzheimer's study that was basically been debunked. Never mind Ansel Keys. I think Osterholm's up there too. So wake me when there's something good that comes out of Minnesota, shall you? All right. Anyway, all right. Richard was on Facebook. Good. All right. He was in the club. 100%. He was. Yeah, there we go. I was awarded the only 100%, dude. That's fantastic. Hey, Mary. Hey, que paso, Mary. Mary's in the house. What's going on real estate up there in Connecticut, Mary? Give us the inside in scoop. Mary's in Westport, Connecticut, I think. Mary's going to give us the inside scoop of real estate in Connecticut. All right. So I want to start here tonight. So I did that. All right. So now we got, all right, good. We got 3 figures on here. Fantastic. All right. So again, if you guys are wondering, if you don't see the live chat, if you're on the Josh Scanlon YouTube channel, there's only 11 people on there right now. Most of the people are on the main Heritage Wealth Planning. So if you want to jump off there and whatever you want to do, but if you want to keep watching the live chat, there'll be more on the Heritage Wealth Planning YouTube channel. Absolutely no reason not to stay on both, man. I mean, staying on both, I can get that George Soros sweet YouTube money. But if you're on the Josh Scanlon one and not on the Heritage Wealth Planning, you're not going to see nearly as many chats, just FYI. I am trying to rebuild my Facebook presence, frankly. I'm not going to be on Facebook. I just don't care. But the more I think about it, the more I think there is an audience on Facebook that needs to hear stuff, if that makes sense. And I hate to sound arrogant, like I'm the purveyor of the truth of retirement planning. I'm not, but I do think I have a take that a lot of people on Facebook probably could use to hear, if that makes sense. And if not, that's fine. But anyway, so I used Rumble for about a year. I like Rumble. I watched Dr. Thomas Cowan on Rumble. I watched Del Bigtree on Rumble, Steve Bannon on occasion. I don't watch that much political stuff anymore just because it bores me, but I do like some of Steve Bannon stuff nonetheless. I love Del Bigtree, Thomas Cowan, and I was just watching Steve Kirsch on Rumble. Every now and again, Styx Hexhammer. Seems like a couple other guys on there too. I forgot, but anyway, I do enjoy some Rumble, but I never got much traction there in terms of live streaming. So I'm probably not going to do live streaming on Rumble anymore. Because I'm not paying, like, you can pay to live stream on all these platforms, Twitch, all this. I'm not doing that. So basically what I'm going to do is really start my live streaming on, bring it back to Facebook. And if people jump on, that's fine. But I think there's an audience there that could, you can see the views, by the way. And if you see the views from Rumble and you see the views on Facebook, even though there's not a huge presence on Facebook right now, but you can see the views afterwards, like how many people you reach. At Facebook, they call it reach, engage. I can't remember. And YouTube is just views, and Rumble is views as well. But you can see the difference, and the difference between Facebook and Rumble is night and day. YouTube is by far the best, but I just think Facebook has a lot of probably grandmas, frankly, that aren't on YouTube. I think YouTube is dominated by men, as my metrics show, and that's great. I love it. But with that said, I think there's a lot of people who could hear what I have to say, whatever, and that aren't necessarily on Rumble. And after about a year of live streaming, pretty heavily on, I don't want to say heavily, but for the time being, I'm just going to focus on Facebook and YouTube. So just as an FYI, but I'm not going to be on there talking. I don't care that much to get involved in stuff on Facebook. I got off for a reason because people were pissing me off. I'm not getting back on there because I don't want to be pissed off. Life's too short. All right. So what? Oh, and then don't forget, I am going to do live streams every Tuesday and Thursday at noon. Every same right here, same place. Every Tuesday and Thursday live streams at noon. So I'm freaking stoked, dudes. I love it. Wife was fired up. I was like, okay, cool. I was like surprised that she was so engaged. She goes, oh, that's cool, man. That's all right, sweet. All right. So I want, hey, we got Mike on there. I want to share with you. I tell you, I'm just going to read you something real quick. This is nuts. So anyway, did I talk about this in my video I did today about Kotlikoff and Scott Burns? I can't remember. Anyway, so this is spent to the end. So I can't remember if I talked about this or not, but a couple big bang things for me in my financial planning career. I've always been an indexer. I cut my teeth at Vanguard in 98, 97, 98, 99, something like that. But before that, my economics professor, George Mason, had me read a couple books from French Fama, or maybe articles from French Fama, and then books from Burton Malkiel from Princeton, and then Bogle. So I wasn't ignorant about Vanguard at all by the time I worked at Vanguard, if that makes sense. I mean, I was very well attuned to the indexing area of investing from the early to mid 90s. And I got started my career at Vanguard in 97 or 90. It must have been, it must have been 98, because we moved to Phoenix in 97. Yeah, it was April 98 when I started at Vanguard. That's what it was. Anyway, so in terms of indexing, that's I've been like that forever. All right, now in terms, you want to, there you go. All right, in terms of financial planning and stuff, though, it wasn't until I read Ty Bernicki's Reality Retirement Spending article in the Journal for Financial Planning in 2005. Yeah, that really, I was like, whoa, where he said basically, your expenditures as you get older go down, and he validated that with information from the BLS, Bureau of Labor Statistics, and all that. I said, okay, that's cool. I did not know that. That was a great. I was like, whoa. I mean, it was like getting hit in the face. Like, that's not what I never thought about that. Then I came across this book, Spent Till the End, by Kotlikoff over at BU, and don't hold, well, in some ways, going to hold him accountable for the insanity of the economics department there, i.e. AOC. I stuffed my teeth. And my wife made some skillet lasagna tonight. It was good. Anyway, so Kotlikoff has been a rabble rouser in the financial planning industry for many, many years. I'm a fan of Kotlikoff. He's big lib. He tries too hard to be edgy, in my opinion, and maybe I do the same. I don't know. But long story short, I'm a fan of Kotlikoff, that's for sure. I got to qualify. I don't agree with everything he says. You always got to do that. I'm not anti-vax. I'm just against blah, blah, blah. You always got, anytime someone says, I'm not anti, I just don't stop saying that. It doesn't matter. I'm not racist. My best friends are black. Stop saying all that stuff. Stop it. Jeez. I'm not homophobe. Some of my best friends are gay. In fact, I've experimented. Now that was funny. I just came up with that. Some of my best friends are gay. I'm not homophobe. In fact, I've even. Oh, where does that come from? That was fun. All right. Anyway, I haven't experimented. The idea of snuggling a dude. Yeah, dude. You see, just look. I just look at sweet cheeks over there. My wife, that's why I think if you're gay, you're born that way. There's no way some dude chooses to have a romp with a guy. No. You're born like that because it's freaking dudes are nasty, man. Women are freaking the cat's meow. You got to be born like that. You got to be. No one's going to sit there and say, hot chick, ugly guy. I'm going to go with the ugly guy unless they're born like that. No way. Anyway. All right. So I just, the idea. I'm pointing over here. You don't know what I'm pointing at. My wife's sitting in the other room. You walk by your wife, the soft skin, the smell, the ladylike smell, just soft, what's the word? I don't even know what's called, that estrogen or whatever. I don't know what it is. Whatever women have, you're just like, man, everything is good about a woman. Everything is not good about it. Men are needed. I'm happy to be a man. I can't say I'm proud to be a man. I am. I am what I am. But the idea of saying, no. And if you choose that way, I don't care. Just don't friggin' tell me about it. I don't want to know, as you probably don't want to what I do with my spare time either. All right, so Kolikoff has this book. You need to get it. It's from 2008 or something like that. I can't remember. 2008. All right. So we're going to start with this one takeaway. Replacement rates come to you courtesy. Oh, my t-shirt. Now my t-shirt is inside out, outside in or inside out. Right on, Jim. Right on. All Inside Out T-shirt club members. Right on, Jeremy. I didn't know if it was sweating like I had to take down a tree today. I was sweating like a crazy man, and I went up to Lowe's and I haven't showered. I mean, I showered this morning, but after I took down the tree, I sweating like a crazy man and ran up to Lowe's to see if they had any sales on trees because fall is the planting time for trees, and then have nothing. And so, but that's why I like these wicker shirts or whatever they're called. I just love these kind of shirts. I got these at Costco for nothing, man. All right. Replacement rates come to you courtesy of people who have their very best interests at heart. Replacement rates come to you from people who have their very best interests at heart. All right. Interest at heart. Did I say interest rates? Interest at heart. So I'm going to talk to you right here. We're just going to read a little bit of this. It's been a while since I actually opened this up, but I want to show you the science behind the replacement rate. How dare you question the science? I've actually did a video a long time ago on the origins of the replacement rate. And that was before I don't even think I might have just had 1,000 subscribers, maybe 1,500. I can't remember. I need to do that video again because that it still to this day ticks me off. And it's going to tick you off here when we read it to you. All right, the replacement rate has a source. It's calculated every 3 years by the Center for Risk Management and Insurance Research at Georgia State University, right down there in downtown Atlanta. And they use the Department of Labor's Consumer Expenditure Survey, BLS. All right. As the center's website acknowledges, it was established in 1969 through grants and general financial support from the insurance industry. The replacement rate study was financed by Aon Corporation, a major insurance brokerage headquartered in Chicago. All right. In other words, the replacement rate is calculated by the insurance industry. The calculation itself is an exercise in reverse engineering. I gotta take my glasses off. It's an exercise in reverse engineering. The researchers at Georgia State start with a pre-retirement income of a variety of households and then make adjustments until they get the spending being done before retirement. They assume this income needs to be replaced, and then they calculate the pre-tax retirement income needed to cover that spending. So let's take it step by step. Let's say that you're a 65-year-old worker with a 62-year-old wife. Your salary is $70,000. How much of that $70,000 do you actually get to spend? Well, we know $5,300 comes off from FICA, another $7,000 lost to federal taxes, another $1,600 lost to state taxes. So after taxes and FICA, your $70,000, you're only left with $55,000. Your pre-tax or pre-retirement after-tax income. Now, the Georgia State researchers then subtract your savings estimated from the survey data. They're roughly saying about 5%. They also adjust for age-related work expenses, another $2,000. So that basically leaves you with $51,000 of the money that's being spent before retirement that's supposed to continue forever at the same level in your post-retirement. And given that their incomes, so they conclude that you need a 76% pre-retirement or post-retirement replacement rate. So again, we have $70,000 of gross income, $50,000 is what we're netting. That's what we're going to need in retirement. All right. Now, here's where Larry hit it, and not only Larry, but Scott Burns hit it out of the park. Sorry, it's an easily calculated number, but it will be dead wrong for most people. For starters, the calculation widely assumes that a household spending after retirement will be precisely the same as it was before retirement. Spending here refers to all household outlays, be they on food, housing, education, medical bills, and so on. The assumption leaves one scratching his head. After all, mortgage payments adjusted for inflation change from year to year and stop once the mortgage is paid off. Tuition payments stop. Spending on children ends when the kids grow up and move out. Special vacations taken prior to retirement may not be repeated after retirement. And the list goes on and on. Anyway, so here's then he talks about Larry. His wife is significantly younger than him, and he says Larry and his wife Dale, it's a chick, their pre-retirement spending involves significant outlays on children. For their part, Larry and Dale spend a bundle each year feeding, clothing, transporting, entertaining, blah blah blah, their two sons. When the time comes that their sons are out, Larry and Dale will be spending dramatically less than their current pre-retirement spending. The boys will be on their own. The mortgage will be paid off. The life insurance needs will be destroyed. The same could be true of they're spending someone to help Larry's mom. But you would never know any of this from the Aon replacement rate formula. It asks no questions. It incorporates no information about children, mortgages, insurance premiums, or anything else like that. Isn't that crazy? And again, if just there's, I got, look at all these notes I took. I mean, just notes after notes. And this is from, I think I read this in 2009 or something like that. 288, pay off mortgage. Let me see. Hold on a second. I want to see what he says there. Or maybe I said that. Housing is the major albatross limiting our ability to spend our resources on other goods and services. For most of us, it's a source of tremendous pleasure. The hard part is paying for it, which can be risky business. Buying rather than renting can mitigate the risk. If we buy, we have protection against rising housing costs. Did you all hear that? If you buy, you have protection against rising housing costs. Yes, property tax and homeowners will go up, like in the video I did today. The house may develop termites or flood, but if rents go up, homeowners won't have to pay more for the housing services they receive from living in their own homes. Why doesn't the BLS know this? Unless you are pretty sure inflation is about to take off, the best mortgage is no mortgage. And paying off your mortgage is the highest yielding safe return you can earn in the market. So if you find you have extra money to invest, pay down your mortgage. I could not agree more. 100%. Anyway, so I thought that was great because that just, again, once again, just shows you that the idea of, here's the Josh and Charlotte life cycle. All right. It's almost a bell curve. When we're young and dumb and poor, we don't spend much. As we start having kids and bigger mortgage, and as we start making more money, we spend more. Amazing. Then the kids go out of the house. Why would anyone, this is reality, man. The kids go out of the house. This is what I call the retirement spending humpback. It's actually, this should be your life cycle spending humpback, but retirement gets better clicks on YouTube. So I use that. If you say retirement, you'll get more views than if you say life cycle or something like that. Anyway, so the point being is, so right here we are right now. This is where we are. We're probably right there, actually. We're probably right there because basically our cars are paid off. And we have a little bit of student loan. Well, we don't have any student loans. My kids do. We help them out. But anyway, we're on the downside of that. So in 4 years, we'll be here because the mortgage will be paid off. We'll downsize our house. The kids, it's just what Larry's talking about. But instead of the bell curve of retirement or the humpback of retirement planning, the industry wants you to assume that's what it is. It's a linear, and I've said this 1,000,000 times, but you don't know who's watching. So I have no clue. I mean, I see the comments and stuff, but if you don't know who's watching, so you got to say this over and over and over again, because if you don't, people are going to miss the boat and they're going to continue to work the crappy old job because they think, oh my God, the 4% rule. All right, so that's one thing. So, and this is why I said my video I did today. I definitely would like to recruit you guys. I'll put. I got to figure out how I want to do this to ask what your expenses are, your bigger expenses are. But all right, so then I want to go back and so what I'm doing here is for my book I'm writing. I'm using data like saying you're age 45 to 54, what your spending was in 2004 and 5. And then we're going to say if you're age 55 to 64, what your spending was 10 years later. Then we're gonna, so basically what I'm doing is I'm building my own database of what the Consumer Expenditure Survey says for people who spend as a group, these same people, 45 to 54. Then 10 years later, they're 55 to 64. 10 years later, they're 65 and over, some of that. You see what I'm saying? That way you can build this thing. It says our spending actually, as this is a linear progression, it goes up and then it starts dropping off, just like the bell curve I talked about, just like Larry talked about, and just like your own existence would tell you, your own experience. And I find that very interesting because I don't get why people, I just don't get why this is in more just basic one-on-one stuff here. It's weird. I mean, other than Larry saying the financial industry has their best interests at heart. I don't understand why other people just can't grasp onto this naturally. Anything else I wanted? It seems like I had something else I wanted to. Let's just read this real quick. This is how the consumer CPI measures the owner's equivalent rent. All right, so all right, the index for shelter, by far and away, housing is the biggest expenditure in the CPI. Owner's equivalent rent of residence, OER, and primary rent of residence measure the majority of the change in the shelter cost. All right, the shelter service that a housing unit provides to its occupants is the relevant consumption item for CPI. The shelter service. Most of the cost of shelter for renter-occupied housing is rent. That makes sense. For an owner-occupied unit, most of the cost of the shelter is the implicit rent that owner-occupants would have to pay if they're renting their homes without furnishings or utilities. Owned housing units themselves are not priced into CPI. Like most other nations' economic statistics programs, the CPI only views housing as capital. And so what happens there in the consumer CES, Consumer Expenditure Survey, they don't have payback principal as part of the expenses. You know why? Because they think paying down your principal is an investment. It's nuts. The Consumer Expenditure Survey, they show the interest. They don't show the paying back of principal as part of your expenditure. Because they say if you're paying your principal back, that's not a payment, that's an investment. You're having more equity. It doesn't make any sense. And that's what CPI is built on, the Consumer Expenditure Survey stuff. The weightings for CPI are based on Consumer Expenditure Survey. So if I pay a $3,000 a month mortgage, $2,000 goes to principal and $1,000 goes to interest. The $2,000 is just gone from Consumer Expenditure Survey because they're saying, oh, you're not really paying down debt. What you're doing is you're building investments. But it's a cost, it's an expenditure. Crazy. The point is, you can't rely on this stuff to determine your own stuff. Thus, the mechanism to determine your own stuff is to determine your own expenditures. All right. Anyway, so that's what I got here. Anyway. All right, so let's see what you guys want to talk about. I don't have that much here tonight. I just just as we go back. All right, so there's Larry and Scott Burns. And here's my man, Frederick Vetese, or some Canadian guy, Vetese, the Central Retirement Guide. And just, again, if you want to go, let's see, I think I had it written down here someplace. And of course, you buy this stuff, you use my link, I get paid that sweet 2% commission. So this book costs 80 cents, $18 or $8, I don't know what it costs. If that book costs $10, I get paid 20 cents, man. So buy it through my link. Actually, it's true that books, you don't get much on commissions on books. But if you buy other stuff while you're using my link to buy their book, supposedly those sales are supposed to generate income for me via the Amazon affiliates thing. I don't know that to be true. I probably make $30 a month on Amazon affiliates. I'm just not good at marketing that stuff. I need to be better. Like, I get my brain is too freaking nuts that I can't focus. Say, what's my Amazon affiliate marketing strategy today? I'm like, squirrel, housing, debt, Charlotte. No, that's how it works for me. All right. So anyway, real quick. Um, right. Oh, that's such a good point. When you're making on, and this goes, I tell you, these two books go hand in hand. The best books you could ever get on retirement planning is dude. It's like freaking Paul or Saul going to Damascus. The light, you'll be blinded by the light. Blinded by the light. Oh, Chloe, she's texting, says she misses the dogs. All right. Yeah, I get. Amazon booted parlor. I 100%, man. I friggin' pissed me off. But it's just, I'm still kind of surprised that Parlor wasn't aware of that. Actually, Parlor had a good thing going, and then they were taken out just because they weren't ready. See, that's the thing. When you're on the good versus evil, the good doesn't realize how evil the evil is. You see what I'm saying? Like there's no way we can ever be in front of the left because the left doesn't play by our rules. They don't. Satan and evil don't. They lie, man. We don't. I hope we don't. They lie, and they don't get Satan. You think the devil gives two craps if you Satan? You lied. As he chomping on your soul for eternity, he's like, yeah, well, it sucks for you. Sue me. You know what I'm saying? Satan lies, man. These people are playing with Satan. Oh man, by the way, if you guys want to hear a great video, my man Dwayne sent this to me. Oh, let's see if I can't find it real quick. You guys got to watch this. This guy is fantastic. Oh my lands. Oh, this guy kicks ass. I've only watched about half this guy's video so far, but I'm going to show it to you. Let's see. Blinded by the light, wrapped up like a deuce. What does wrapped up like a deuce mean, anybody? It doesn't make any sense. I'm wrapped up like a deuce. Is that what he says? I'm wrapped up like a deuce. And then Kiss, they said deuce. What is on that one song? She's worth the deuce. Do, 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 do. Baby, if it's feeling good, baby, if it's feeling right, you know your man is working hard. Do, do, do. He's worth the deuce. Yeah. Is that like some 1970s slang for something? Probably. All right. So anyway, check this out. This guy's video is freaking awesome. Amir Sarfati, the Illuminati and the one world government. Behold Israel with Amir Sarfati. Sarfati. And the history of the satanic efforts of religions, cults, and the modern powerful elite to rule the world with the light of Lucifer as their guide. This is a deliberate plan to push for. Dude, it's crazy, man. This is. I hope I can remember to put this in the links. This is an incredible history of enlightenment. From the Knights Templars, going back even well before that with Adam and Eve, they were enlightened. The Illuminati to illuminate your enlightenment. And he calls it Gnosticism. I was like, holy crap! I didn't know that. The reason I call them the Knights Templars is because they were on the Temple of Solomon or something like that. I can't remember. I did not know. That was interesting. Anyway, so you go back to the Illuminati to illuminate, light. We're going to enlighten you. We're going to open your eyes. You're going to see the light, says Lucifer to Eve. You're going to see the light. The Illuminati, we're going to enlighten you. The Enlightenment of the 1850s, where all the evil started. And then he gives in with how to begin the Rothschilds. It's freaking crazy. It's awesome. I love it. I love this stuff. I could listen to stuff all day long because no one's ever told us about this stuff before. Because anyone says, oh, you're a conspiracy theorist. Okay. At this stage, it's kind of like being called a racist. If you ain't being called a racist today, or a homophobe, or a a freaking Christian right winger or whatever, Nazi, hell, that goes par for the course. If you're not being called that, you're not doing it right, man. If you're not being called these names, you're not doing it right anymore. And we say, no, I'm not, as I talked about before, but now it's just like, who cares? It's silly. All right. Anyway, so my man, when you're making ongoing investments in your home, your mortgage payment, That crowds out personal consumption and then lowers your retirement income targets. But you guys make up your minds. There you go, babies. I can never get mad at you. Here goes Pablo. Retirement saving is a special type of investment, and that has a double effect. Not only does it reduce your personal consumption today, it also generates retirement income to meet at least a part of that target. If you make no such investments, your personal consumption and your retirement will tend to be higher. Anyway, the point being is your mortgage, your mortgage payment is reducing your consumption today because it's crowding out what you could be spending on other things. And so as to assume that mortgage payment and that consumption continues on is just silly. All right. Let's see real quick. They like Sri Lanka, 100%, man. The Deuce car? It's revved up like a Deuce. Revving up. What's a Deuce car? I don't know what that is, Hans. I'm not as old as you guys. Deuce, in the sense, leans toward perdition, entire ruin, other destruction. In this sense, leans toward perdition, entire ruin, other destruction. So the meaning is that someone has been blinded by the light. Bruce, very philosophical. Wow. Bruce Springsteen wrote that? Interesting. Right there. A Masonic Jew you can find on YouTube and Telegram, Beyond Israel. Yeah, that guy kicks ass, man. Yeah, I can't stand Bruce Springsteen. Revved up like a Deuce. I guess a Deuce is some kind of engine. All right, please explain what happens if you stop working at 62. All right, so I'm not going to go too deep in here. I got videos on this, but all right, so let's go. This is a big one here, my friends. What happens if you stop working before your full retirement age? Essentially, is what's happening. All right, so he's saying 62, but we could say 60, we could say 55, and all that. Let me just brief you on what happened with your old buddy Josh, just as an FYI. All right, so I quit my job, and I was making more than the max Social Security earnings. All right, so I was 47 years old when I quit. So we'll just say it was 130 was the max earnings, whatever, in 2017. I don't know. But I was making more than that. It doesn't matter because they only tax you up to the max. All right, so I was making more than that. All right, now what happened was that last year for my Social Security statement, this is in 2017, my Social Security statement, which came out in 2018, reflecting my 2017 income. Hope this makes sense. So it's 2018. I get my Social Security statement that reflected from what it was in 2017. And I might even have one around here. I got too much crap around here. In 2017, so my statement said, Josh, your benefit, if you continue to make as much income as you did in 2017, up to your full retirement age, 67, because I was born in 1970, so I was born in 1960 or later. Your benefit, if you continue to make what you made in 2017 at 130,000, will be 2,800 a month at 67. Oops. We'll just do 2,800 bucks a month at 67. All right. That assumed I continued to make 130,000 the max until the next 20 years. Everybody with me so far? All right. Now, look at that. Deuce Coupe. 2-door car hot rod. And then my man says, Deuce Coupe, great fixer uppers. Okay. Cool. Did not know that. Coupe. All right. Old time razors. Revved up like a deuce. All right. Yeah. They're the biggest fakers ever, man. Biggest fakers. Oh, look at Angie. It's a 32 deuce coup by. Oh, wow. Angie's a keeper. She knows that stuff. Yeah, I cannot stand Bon Jovi. I don't get what the appeal of that guy was, other than he was put there because he sold his soul to the devil. On the crossroads, Deuce right there. The Deuce Coupe was described. Yeah, okay. There you go. Cool. All right. So we got $2,800 if I continue to work till I was 67. I did not continue to work until I was 67. I quit. So the very next year, I had no income. All right. So this is in 2018, my 2018 Social Security statement reflecting my 2017 income. The next year, I literally had no income, none. I made no money because I started a business. So in 2019, my benefit said, Josh, if you continue to make the money you made in 2018, which is a big fat goose egg, your Social Security benefit will be, I think it was like $2,200 at 67. All right. So if I never worked again, never again, by the time I'm 67, my benefit was still going to be $2,200 a month. If I worked the max for the next 20 years, my benefit would be $2,800 a month. So essentially, by never working again, I'm leaving $600 on the table, a month on the table, or $7,200 a year. That's it, man. That's at 47 and 48. So you think about it. If you're a 59, 60, 61, and 62, you think it's going to have any impact on your FRA, your full retirement amount? No, unless you haven't worked that much. And the reason mine hasn't changed that much is because I've worked since I was freaking 13 years old, like many of you all had. And I didn't make any money. But I mean, it's still, I've been working. I've been adding to my Social Security system the whole time. And again, what they do is they take your top 35 years of indexed earnings. I'm not going to get too deep in that here because I just don't feel like it. But they take your top 35 years of indexed earnings. Indexed earnings are the money you made. You know, like when I first started Vanguard, I was only made like $19,000. That was in 1998. That's probably the equivalent of, I don't know, 55, maybe 50,000 today or something like that. So basically, the indexed earnings are what you made in that year, the actual earnings made indexed based on not inflation, the average wage index, the AWI. All right, so everyone says COLA. No, it has nothing to do with COLA. This has to do with the average wage index. So if I made, $20,000 in 1997, they index that relative to the increases in average wage index, basically inflated. And they give you what it is worth today. So that $20,000 might be worth $50,000 today. All right. So they take the top 35 of your indexed years of earnings. So if I made 45,000 in 2022, and I made 20,000 in 1998, they would take my 20,000 in 1998 as priority over my 45,000 in 2022 because it's indexed with average wage index to give me my top 35 years. I hope that makes sense. So what they do then is they say, okay, Josh, you average it for simplicity. You made 50,000 a year of index earnings. Again, that would be 20,000 in 1997, 50,000 in 2022, and whatever it is. We made 50,000 each and every year for 35 years. And we're going to times 50,000 by 35, and it's going to give us 1.750 total indexed earnings. Now, what if I worked for 40 years at 50,000 a year? The other 5 years don't matter. I just paid into the system. I don't get any benefit from it. No benefit whatsoever. Yeah, in some ways you do. My wife gets a spousal benefit. My wife will get survivor benefit. There is something about people getting Social Security to keep them rested so they don't rebel and all that stuff in theory. But anyway, either way, if I work 35 years at 50,000 average, I get 1.75 million is my average earnings, my total indexed earnings. And then what we do to get our average index monthly earnings, we divide that by 420 because there's 420 months and 35 years, and we get divided by 420. And that gives us an AIME of 4166. All right, so I'm not going to go into any more deeper than AIME. That's not your Social Security benefit. That's the basis of how your benefit's calculated. All right, but now let's reduce this to 30 years. Let's say I didn't work 35. I only worked 30 years. All right. So I made 50,000 a year times 30, and even I can do that in my head. It's 1.5 million schmackers. So my total indexed earnings is 1.5 million. All right, now I divide that by 420. 150,000 divided by 420, and we get 3571. All right, 3571. So the difference in not working those 5 extra years for my average index monthly earnings, which is the basis for what your Social Security benefit is only $600. That's it. Now my benefit won't be reduced by $600 a month. If anyone wants to figure it out, please. I just don't feel like doing it right now. But anyway, that's it, because I've already accumulated so much money in my earnings, my indexed earnings, that not working an extra couple of years isn't going to have much of an impact at all. It's like trying to turn a battleship on a dime. It can't happen. Once it hits this basic mass of indexed earnings, an extra couple of years don't mean crap. They do not. In fact, if anything, it might not help you at all, especially if you already have 35 years of indexed earnings. You're not making that much money. Now, if you're like my wife, who's worked part-time, she hasn't worked a little bit, blah, blah, blah. She hasn't had a career. Her career has been freaking more advantageous for society, raising my kids. If she worked a couple extra years, that'll help her a little bit. Not much, but it'll help her a little bit for sure. If I worked a couple extra years at 62, it's not going to help me anything because I already made the max I could possibly make for Social Security. Yeah, and that'd be at 62. So all these people say, I got to work to get more Social Security. I said, I guarantee you never crunch the numbers. Guarantee. And they haven't because they don't know it. And no one teaches this stuff. It's crazy. Everyone says, oh, or they'll say stupid stuff. 85% of your Social Security is going to be taxed. That's not true. I mean, it could be, but inherently it's not true for the vast majority of people. It's just not. You should get a loan on your mortgage because it's deductible. That's not true. The vast majority of people don't deduct because they're not itemizing. What else? You can average some guy posted today. He's getting what did he say? This is nuts. I was like, okay. Let's see if I can't find this guy. Some of this stuff is nuts. I'm not saying this guy's bad. I just like, dude, come on, man. This is like so elementary stuff here. Let's see what this guy says. I'm probably not gonna be able to find it. Yeah, not gonna find it. But he basically said I was able to load up on 5% dividend stocks in 2020 or something like that. I said, so you're sitting on cash that whole time up until then, because you can't load up on 5% dividend stocks unless you bought when the price was low in order to get the 5% dividend. And the only way you could have done that is if you weren't in the market to begin with, which meant you missed the market from 2009 to 2020. I mean, this again, it's like, come on. I'm like, all right, well, if that's the case, if he was, if people who say they just got out in February 2020 and they got back in April 2020, I laugh. I said, okay, because this is silly. People said they got out in October 2007 and they got back in March of 2009. I laughed because no one did that. No one did that. And so I just laughed. I said, I don't know why you have to feel like the lie to impress yourself, because you're not impressing me. Now, a lot of people say they got out February 2020 and haven't got back in, or a lot of people say they got out 2008 and they took them 8 years to get back in. I have respect for those people because they're admitting that they couldn't, face the fire when it's happening, so they had to get out to protect it, but they stayed out too long. I get that 100%. But to say you got out on both sides, you got it out on the right side and got in on the right side, it's silly. And then to say you did it twice is just dumb. I mean, no one, just stop. I can't take liars. I've been around a lot of liars in my life, man. I hate it. I was like, why? I mean, stupid stuff too. Like, why are you lying about that? I've never understood the people who have to lie about stuff. I mean, when it's just empirically not true. Um, anyway, so this guy posted something. He's like, I'm getting 5% dividend stocks. Like, well, when'd you buy them? I said, name them. So some companies. I said, they look like pretty good companies. Great. But for you to buy, to get load up on 5% dividend stocks meant you had to have cash, which inherently meant you were not invested, which meant you were out of the market and you're out of the market for a certain amount of time. If you say you're out of the market only at the top, you got out then and you happen to get back in, I don't buy it. Let's see here what we got. But no wealth tax, no wealth tax. Don't forget, at least John Bon Jovi, I think it's Bruce Springsteen too. They get huge taxes because they're agricultural lands in New Jersey. I know what Bon Jovi does. I just I don't get the issue that people are so adamantly against a wealth tax. It strikes me as, look, I used to be like this too. Trust me. I used to be like, oh, they started talking about. I remember Steve Forbes, Ben Stein, Ferris Bueller guy, Ben Stein. He's like, look, we're gonna have to raise the tax on the wealthy, man, if we're gonna fund this war. He was talking about when we all used to be gung ho about the war in Iraq. Because you can't just keep issuing bonds. Well, it turns out apparently you can. I mean, at some point that game's gonna stop. But he's like, we got to raise. And I remember thinking, oh, dare he, Ben Stein, raise the tax on the wealthy? I'm like, I don't know if I did a video on it or not, but I posted something about this guy who's a big metals refinery magnate who gives all kinds of money to the GOP. But he and Leonard DiCaprio are part of a group of people who are funding environmental group lawsuits for environmental nuisances. And I'm like, what the hell is that about, man? You know what I'm saying? It's weird. Like, you're getting in bed with Leo DiCaprio to fund environmental lawsuits for environmental groups to stop various things, and I can guarantee they're probably funding to promote things like the evils of wind turbines and stuff. I said, first of all, you're not freaking refining with solar panels and wind. You're just not doing that. You're using fossil fuels, you freaking idiot. And Leo DiCaprio can kiss my big fat behind because he's flying all over the world with private planes. So it's like they're not in favor of the environment. I don't know what it is. I mean, I have a sneaky suspicion. It's one world government stuff. But at the end of the day, these guys are not environmentalists. But that this guy was a metals refinery and funding tons of GOP candidates. And then he just stopped in 2020. He did not fund Trump anymore because I looked up an open secret. So I said, how ironic is that? So he was, it didn't go back to 2016 because it only gives you 500 instances. It only went back to 2018. That's how much this guy has donated to GOP and a couple of Democrats, but mostly GOP. And yet in 2020, he gave nothing to the Republicans, nothing. And you know why? Because Republicans are finally starting to stand up to the environmental lobby. But he's back, this guy. He's back. Now that Trump has been pushed aside. And the New York Times had this big piece on this guy funding Trump in 2016. I'm sure he's probably a Jeb Bush guy initially. And I guarantee this is why we know Trump was legit. Because I guarantee he funded Trump thinking Trump was going to be willing to be led by the nose. And he wasn't. And when Trump wasn't, he said, I'm not going to provide for you any money. I guarantee you that. Do I literally guarantee that? No. But there's an article in the New York Times about this guy in 2016. He's like an environmentalist who's funding Trump or something like that. And I didn't read the whole article. I imagine, again, he was a Jeb Bush guy before. But he wanted to be in on the thing. And I bet he probably thought Trump was going to govern more liberally than Trump turned out to be. Trump is the best president we've had since Andrew Jackson, frankly. I'm still pissed about the freaking 2020 crap, but I actually don't blame Trump for that anymore. I do blame Trump for the vaccine salesman stuff. I don't like that at all. But at the end of the day, he had literally everybody against him, including his own damn vice president. There's nothing he could have done. He was just nothing. So while I do think Putin is in on this whole thing with the World Economic Forum, I truly do, actually. He was a young globalist leader. I actually think Trump was the one guy standing up to it. I truly do. I don't think I think all this stuff helped. DeSantis is probably somewhat into it too. We'll see. It's interesting I like DeSantis. Don't get me wrong. I'm still gonna vote if he wins the nomination. I'll vote for him outright. But My contention is that Trump. I've now come to the conclusion Trump was the only guy who was able to stand firm. Everybody else capitulated. Everybody else against everything they threw at Trump, and they're still doing it to this day because they know that Trump is it. They got everybody else, man, and I'm not quite sure about DeSantis. I mean, look, I trust him a hell of a lot more than any of the other guys. Don't get me wrong, but where I was on the DeSantis train, I'm back on the Trump train. That's for sure. Just as an FYI. So if that pisses you off, I'm not the channel for you because I'm a Trump guy. Look, is he a freaking con? Yes, he's an entertainer, but I'm back on the Trump train. Do I think Trump's going to save us? No, I don't. There's no one to save us other than the resurrection of Jesus. We all know that. But I think Trump will at least arrest the World Economic Forum for sure. And that, and I don't mean arrest them like send them to jail. I just mean stop what they're doing because it's pure evil, man, what these guys are doing. I'm still worried about Germany. I mean, this whole thing, as Angie, I don't know if she's still here or not, but what the hell is Germany going to do this winter? I sit there and I'm worried that I might be the opposite of the environmental, like, oh my goodness, we're all gonna die in Ebola and global warming fire. Like, I don't want to be that guy from the opposite side, like, oh my goodness, we're all gonna be, freaking eating ramen noodles under candlelight. I don't want to be that guy either, but I'm just sitting, and I do worry that, because some of these zero hedges that tourists are being pretty what's the word I'm looking for? Sensationalist. You know what I'm saying? I stopped reading Breitbart because of that. So there's not much I really read anymore in terms of, I'll read Conservative Treehouse, my first stop. I still read Zero Hedge. I'll read Instapundit, Powerline blog. I like those guys, but, and I'll read voxday.net. Substack, I read a lot of stuff on Substack now, but I do worry, like, I don't want to be the fear mongering guy coming at it from the right, say, oh my goodness, because I don't want to be that guy either because it's stupid. And it doesn't advance the cause. I want to be the guy who says, but I'm sitting there thinking, how the hell is Germany going to do this in the wintertime? I don't get it, man. It's crazy. I got something. All right, let's see what we're doing here, man. You're banned. Explain the advantages of retiring after you hit once you have 35 years of index earnings, you maxed what you could possibly earn, unless that goes in the Social Security calculation, unless one of your older years of index earnings of those 35 can be replaced by a newer one. So if you had 1 year of index earnings as 50, and now you're making 60, that will replace the 50 with a 60. But I mean, just pure numbers, man. I mean, it's not going to do much. So let's just say you had 50,000 for 35 years. Oops, 35. Now I can't. Was it 1.75? 50,000 times 35. Yeah, so you have 1.75. So you have 35 years at $50,000. All right. That gives you 1.75 in a total indexed earnings. But now you're going to make $150,000 for 1 year. So now you're going to have 34 years at 50,000, which will give us 1.7 million. And then you're going to get another 1 year at $150,000. So we've actually made. So what's happened is we've replaced 150 year with 150. So we've actually added 100,000 to the total average of the total indexed amount. Again, 35 years at 50 is 1.75 total indexed earnings. 34 years at 50 is 1.7, but then the 35th year, because we took one of the 5th years out, we replaced with 150, is right here. So we have 1.85 million of indexed earnings. Hope that makes sense. So now we take both of those numbers, 1.85 million, divide that by 420, and our aim there is 4404. Then we take 175 million, divide by 420. Our aim there is 4166. So what's going to happen here, just as an FYI, I already know what's going to happen. So what we do here is 4166 1 second. 4404 minus 4166. That's $238 times 0.32. We'll make that 1 year. Let's see. 238. Is that right? Wait, yeah, 238 times 0.32. That 1 extra year of working will give us an extra about $76 a month. $76 a month times 12. That's less. That's about $900 a year. So basically, the issue is it worth it to work an extra 40, 50, 60 years to make another $900 a year in Social Security? No, I mean it might be. I don't know, but that's how it works. And the reason we know this, it's simply because of what's called the average index monthly earnings, and then you take it relative to the various bend points, which I'm not going to get to. But point being is it's going to make about an extra $900 a year, but it's for the rest of your life. Okay, I get it. And I made another 150,000. Yeah, what if you're miserable? What if you're commuting an hour each way? What if you're getting fat? You're getting angry. Your blood pressure's high. What if? What if? What if? What if you don't like your job? Could you find anything else to do instead of that crappy old job to generate an extra $900 for the next 20 years? You know what I'm saying? I mean, just anything else. Trade baseball cards. I mean, I don't know what it'd be. Go mow a guy's yard, freaking in the summertime, just twice a week, twice a month. I mean, there's a million different things you could do of stuff that you would enjoy that would generate that extra scratch that you don't have to worry about working an extra year at a crappy old job. It's just not worth it. I mean, I don't want to say it. But it's not going to change much in your Social Security because you already have this huge amount of indexed earnings. It's just not going to change much. And of course, the higher indexed earnings you have, the less is going to change. That is only with a guy averaging $50,000. If a guy averaged $75,000, it's going to be less because he already has such a high index monthly total index earnings. All right, let's get down here. If you guys want to get ahead of the thing, you want to super chat me, just super chat. I forgot just that you pay me that sweet, sweet money because I'm dirty, greedy capitalist. And if you have a question you want me to make sure for addressing, super chats are always welcome. All right. Yeah, but who was in Congress, man? I mean, in 1983, he signed the bill. How everything comes, all legislation comes from the House. The House of Representatives was the Democrats by far. I think Tip O'Neill was the head guy, the House Majority Leader, Speaker of the House. I could be wrong, but either way, the Democrats control it. So don't blame Reagan. I mean, if you want to blame anybody, blame Clinton in '93. Because Clinton, at least Reagan only had 50% of your Social Security subject to taxation. Clinton is one who made it 85%. And he had both houses, the Senate and the House of Representatives, and Clinton. Thus, we should say blame Clinton for that too. But no one. When I'm just kind of picking on you, dude. But what I'm saying is everyone's like, blame Reagan. Reagan didn't. He just signed the bill. Clinton just signed the bill. Comes from the House. But at least with Reagan, it was from the Democrats. At least with Clinton, it was from the Democrats and the Democratic president. It's weird how Clinton gets a free pass. On top of that, don't forget, Clinton or Reagan indexed the taxation on Social Security with inflation. No one did. So let's blame Reagan, but blame even more so to the Clinton because he had a Democratic majorities in the House and Senate in 1993 when he signed that legislation to increase the taxes on Social Security. Well, Obama did the net investment income tax. That's what the NIIT did. If memory serves, though, Harry, when Bush signed Part D, I think Bush actually increased the Medicare premiums based on income, if memory serves. I know Obama had the NIIT, the net investment income tax. But if memory serves, the increase, the Irma was under Bush. I could stand corrected there. The Income with Respect to Medicare Adjustment Act, IRMA. I think that was Bush, actually. Basically a user fee. That's not. Let's go. Oh yeah, I always talk about reverse mortgages. 100%. I mean, I'll probably take a reverse mortgage when I hit that age for sure. All right. So if we just remember, if we look at Social Security cost of living adjustments, once you're 62 or 60, I always forget. I think it's 62 versus AWI, average wage index. AWI has smoked the COLAs, just as an FYI. A lot of people say, because we're probably not going to get, if you're under the age of 62, the earliest year of eligibility, 62. Yeah, so if you're under the age of 62 this year, you're probably not going to get the same increase in average wage index as the recipients of Social Security because they're going to get a big fat COLA. But if you just look at AWI versus COLAs, you'd rather take AWI. Trust me on that. So even if it's this year is bad, the future years will probably be better for AWI, average wage index increases relative to COLA. I hope that makes sense. Probably doesn't, but yeah. Well, it's not misunderstood. It's just lied about, Sergio. I mean, people lie about this. It's weird. It's literally the strangest thing in the world how people get like this viscerally, whatever it is. I don't know what that word is. Like angered by reverse mortgage. It's strange to me, especially people who really have no incentive to leave something to their kids anyway. Who said that on this very channel that they have no inclination at all to leave anything to their kids, and yet they get just really like it's weird to me. I'm like, I don't understand it, man. I mean, I get it. If your whole point is you want to leave something to your kids, well, reverse mortgage might not be the best thing for you because you just don't know. The bank, at least you're not leaving them a debt. You're not leaving your kids a debt. That's why it's a non-recourse loan. But you're not leaving them a potential asset either. Okay, well, I mean, if that wasn't the point anyway, why would you be upset with a reverse mortgage? It's weird. Now, I will grant you. I mean, I say all the time, long-term care is used by selling your house. So if you have a reverse mortgage and you're maxed out on that puppy, it's going to be hard in terms of, again, you will never owe more than what the value of your home is. So essentially, you'll never be in debt, if that makes sense. Your estate's going to pay it off upon the sale of your home. But you can't sell your house for $500,000 and expect to get $500,000 if the reverse mortgage, the balance is $500,000. Doesn't work like that. But what I'm saying is I never quite. So if you're using the model that says, well, I'm going to use the equity in my home to pay for assisted living or skilled care, then reverse mortgage could that could be a problem. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. I have a sneaky suspicion that it's not going to be a problem for that many people. And the reason I say this is because not that many people spend very much money on assisted living, skilled care, or even in-home health care. We just know that. Yes, some people spend money out of pocket, but we know the vast majority of people don't spend that much. They can easily pay for it out of cash flow. Or if they got to take a home equity line, it's fine. I mean, they can't take a home equity line if they have a reverse mortgage. I'm saying if they have to tap into equity. But the vast majority of us don't sit there for years in assisted living. We just don't. So but people, they get fear and say, what if I lose my home? Like, how are you going to lose your home? I don't pay the property tax. Oh, so the reverse mortgage is what made you not pay the property tax? The reverse mortgage did that to you? Because as far as I'm aware, the reverse mortgage is an inanimate object that does not anything, doesn't do anything, doesn't force you to do anything. This calculator, I could hit myself over the head with it, probably wouldn't feel good. The calculator itself doesn't know that. It's an inanimate object. The whole argument against gun control. Guns don't do anything. Guns don't kill people. People kill people. How dare you, Josh? How dare you say that? People kill people. Guns don't. People can kill people lots of ways. Anyway, the point being is the reverse mortgage doesn't make you not pay your property tax. You didn't pay your property tax. You can have all the debt free in the world. You don't pay your property tax. You're going to get a knock on the sheriff by the sheriff's deputies saying, hey, we got to put you out. You didn't pay your property tax. How dare you say that, sheriff? How dare you? I own my house free and clear. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't. You're a sharecropper to some regard. But but I don't have a reverse mortgage. Dave Ramsey says a reverse mortgage that put me out of my house. Yeah, Dave Ramsey doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Dave Ramsey says whole life insurance is bad. It's a scam. Yeah, Dave Ramsey doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. Once again. Dave Ramsey says I can get 10 to 12% rate of return on my investments. Yeah, Dave Ramsey doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. What does Dave Ramsey talk about? Pay off your debt. 100%. All this other stuff, Dave Ramsey doesn't always talk about. To say there is a product that's inherently bad or good is so freaking dumb. It actually infuriates me. It infuriates me because all these guys they're not financial guys. They're not. They're entertainers. I mean, I guess I'm an entertainer, but I'm an entertainer because I'm a financial guy. I know this stuff. Oh, you sound so cocky. I don't care. I don't care. Like literally, I'm cocky because I know what the hell I'm talking about. It's just watching these. This is why I don't watch YouTube videos on financial planning much, because it's like, dude, Stone Pablo. I just want to throw up my hands and say I cannot believe this has got to be what real scientists, real epidemiologists say when they saw like Fauci. They must look at Fauci and say, I can't believe this guy is our guy. I can't believe he represents us, because he's such a snake in the grass, such a stupid clown. The real people out there have got to sit there and say, I can't believe this is what people think of when they think of scientist or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Or Neil deGrasse Tyson. I can't believe this is what people think of when they think of physics. I can't believe it. Or they think of, I don't know, anything. Financial planning. I can't believe they think Dave Ramsey when they think of financial planning. Or Susie Orman. Or who's the other guy? Rick Edelman. I got no animosity towards Rick Edelman. I find that the idea we're all going to live to 120. Man, I just keep going. If I can make money on wind and solar, why not? I mean, if you can make money on anything, why not? I don't get it. I don't get why. If I can make money on wind or solar, why would I not do that? Yeah, if you can make money on things, I don't have any problem with that. If you think wind and solar are going to power our economy, you're nuts. It's just not going to happen. Gotta be like, if I'm a BU economics guy and I see AOC, I'm like, I cannot believe she's representing me as Boston University economics. You know what I'm saying? If I was a climatologist who's a real guy, like the boys down at the UAH, University of Alabama, Huntsville, I say, I can't believe Michael Mann is our guy. I can't believe this guy is the first guy to go to, because that guy's just stupid. He's not smart. He's not. I'm just trying to think what else. It's the entertainers, man. The entertainers are feeding off an idiot media. As Ben Rhodes said, the media is basically 27-year-old know-nothings. They do what we tell them. Yeah, 100%. I'm back on the Trump train, baby. 7 years left. He's out of the army. Oh, why? I mean, that's good. I'm glad. Can you imagine? Like, I would never tell my kids to join the military now, ever. Isn't that sad? The military background of the Scanlon Deichmann clan is deep and long, and I would never tell my kids to join the military. When Maddie first went to Georgia Tech, we actually went and talked to the ROTC program down there, and she said, she just didn't think it was for us. That's cool. That has never occurred to me at all to encourage my kids, and my boys in particular, to go in the United States military. Isn't that sad? It's sad. And remember, Trump appointed Milley, though. But see, that's where I give Trump the pass. Initially, I was pissed off at Trump. Said, man, personnel is policy. It's on you, Trump. But then I was reading my man Sundance over the conservative treehouse. He's like, do you think Trump really he could literally go in there and say, I'm going to interview all these guys? And no, he couldn't do. He didn't have the time to do all that stuff. He had bigger things to do. And so he relied, negatively it turns out, he relied on people, his backbench, to support him. And literally, they were out to get him 100%. Paul Ryan, all these guys. So Trump made some bad decisions, without question. Trump's a little bit too arrogant for me. I don't care about his Twitter. Everyone's like, I hate his tweets. I like the tweets. If you ever got back on there, the tweets are what makes me happy, because it shows these guys that we ain't playing. We're not like, oh my goodness, they're going to call us racist. We're going to run. No, those days are over. And all these people say, I wish he would stop tweeting. I thought it was great. I loved it. I think it was, sometimes I never understood in the middle of the campaign going after Joe Scarborough. And why give Joe Scarborough any street cred? That guy's a clown. And the best way to deal with idiots is just to ignore them. You know what I'm saying? But I like to tweet stuff. All right, so it's Yeah, Enron. Yeah, Enron was big on the carbon credit thing too, if memory serves. It's before that, but they're big on Enron was not the cylinder of fossil fuel, but they were big. They were big on trading platforms. I want to say carbon credit. I don't know if carbon credits, because I think carbon credits began in Europe in the late '90s. Anyway, Enron wasn't obviously they weren't like, I'm not here to defend Enron, not in the least. They weren't a capitalist enterprise. So let's just put it that way. There's something I'm thinking about though with Enron and the they had green ambitions. I just forgot what it was off the top of my head. Go back and listen closely to the. I don't know what I don't know what that is. Yeah, look, I like DeSantis, man. Don't get me wrong. I'm a fan. I'm not against DeSantis. I don't want to make that perfectly clear. Big fan of Ronnie D. Ronnie D. and the Get Fresh crew. I'm just saying, at the end of the day, as we sit here today, my preference is Trump. Could that change in 3 months? Yes, absolutely. Because I was 3 months ago, my preference was Ronnie D. So I'm glad they take Ronnie D. I will not take Nikki Haley. I will not take Tim Scott. Probably won't take Kristi Noem. There's not many more I'd take, though. I'll tell you that right now. I'd probably take Kristi Noem. If I had to, I'd take her. I don't trust that chick. The dude from Arizona, nope. All right, Kristi Noem had something easy pickings to stand up against, and she couldn't do it because of Chamber of Commerce. It's so frustrating. Like, the stupid guy from Arizona, Ducey, not Steve Ducey, but D-U-C-Y or something like that. The governor there, he capitulated. Greg Abbott capitulated under the mass onslaught of COVID-19. And you can't do that, man. When freedoms are at stake, you can't capitulate. And they did. And they didn't stand up for the freedom. They didn't. At least Trump did. At least Trump said, no, I'm not going to tell we're not doing this. States, I mean, he still a little bit could have been better. Let's put it that way. But whatever. It's water under the bridge now. But not for these guys. Because, anyway, long story. But Kristi Noem did. She stood up against it. Then she capitulated on something that's such an easy win when it comes to 57 flavors. I was like, Kristi Noem, this isn't 2014 North Carolina where we didn't recognize the onslaught of 57 flavors. That's what happened in North Carolina. We didn't see how bad it was. We weren't expecting the enragement and onslaught. We weren't prepared because we're not that kind of people. We're righteous people just trying to get by. And y'all might remember, I think it's 2014 North Carolina. And Kristi Noem was scared of that happening to her. I'm like, do you not see the difference, Kristi Noem? This is the thing about the abortion stuff. Joe Rogan got his butt handed to him by the guy from Babylon Bee, Seth Dillon, I think. It got his butt handed to him. I said the days of arguing we're safe, rare, and legal are over. We're not. Look, we fell for that, and you guys went 9 months. Friggin' 9 months and 2 weeks. We're not going back on this anymore. We're not. So Joe Rogan now is like arguing in favor of, well, what if my daughter got raped? So yeah, we've been through this before. That was 1990s argument. And they were 30 years later, and all that did was allow you to freaking have literally abortion at the delivery point in some of these states. It's nuts. So we're not doing that anymore. So we know we gave them an inch. They took a freaking 8 miles. You know what I'm saying? And that same thing happened in 2014, North Carolina. Like, we just want people to feel comfortable. We did not realize what would be happening here with an 80-year-old lady in Yakima, Washington, was banned from the YMCA for saying, hey, you can't be in a girl's bathroom. If you know what I'm saying. I'm afraid to talk too much about it because I don't want YouTube to crack down on me. Freaking, let's just put it this way. Everybody knows it's inappropriate for this to happen. Everybody knows, but the YMCA said, no, sorry, old 80-year-old lady, we're going to ban you for getting upset by having something shining, pointing out there, if you know what I'm saying, in a girl's bathroom. Little girls. And she got banned. Kristi Noem, and the fact that her political instincts are so poor to recognize that just shows that she's rookie league stuff, man. Rookie league. DeSantis is AAA. Trump is DeSantis. He's riding the pine. He's riding the pine in Major League Baseball. Trump's big league. DeSantis is big league, but he's not out there yet. He's not out there, but he's on the team. Chrissy Nome is probably single A baseball. Let's see what LePage does. I wonder if Paul LePage can pull out a victory in Maine. Anyone up here from Maine? Has LePage got a chance? I bet he doesn't. It's and at this stage, there's Finney and Pablo in together. Yeah, James. Yeah, I was my man Sergio. Yep. Line of credit. Let that line of credit grow, man. Oh no, I thought this was a retirement expenses discussion. I would ban her, but she's been around and she's been very nice before. Why do people say stuff like that? And were you supposed to talk about the same thing for an hour and a half? Literally, we did talk about it. Why do people jump in late and say silly stuff? Oh, it drives me crazy. Like, lady, we're already an hour and a half into it. I get it, you're late. But don't come in here and say, I thought we were talking retirement expenses. We did. Now we're talking about other things. You don't have to be here. But why would you say something like, oh, this is what I want to talk about? Then don't watch. It's okay. I don't care. Yeah, DeSantis needs more time. I completely agree. Yeah, what I could 100 Jeff 100%. DeSantis is a politician, good one, right? 100%. Jeff's getting on it. Trump is just Trump exactly. Yeah, thanks, Joshua. That's all right. I know you're nice. I know. That's why I didn't ban you because you've been around before. You usually have nice stuff to say. I just hate when people throw when they come in late. It's kind of like going to your economics class. Why did you talk about the Phillips curve? You're late. First of all, just as an FYI, no one should ever talk ever about the Phillips curve. Phillips curve is stupid. Get that out of their vernacular. I always use it to bash it because it's so idiotic, and I'm not going to talk about it here today. Here comes Heart Flight. I'm coming in late. I'm Heart Flight. I'm at my economics class. It's a 2-hour class. I'm an hour and a half late, but I'm coming in. And I say, I thought this was going to be a discussion about macroeconomics and the Phillips curve. And the professor's sitting there just bantering with his audience, his class about other things because they already talked about all that. And Heart Flight's like, how dare you? I'm goofing on you, Heart Flight. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I'm just goofing on you, but I do find it. What are we talking about? Hindenburg Omen. What's talk to me? What are we talking about here, man? LePage, I don't have a TV to watch. Yeah, good stuff, LePage. Jeremy, LePage is out there running against Janet, Shrills, and I hope he wins. I do. I was surprised he threw his hat in the ring. That takes guts because he had relocated to Florida, but he's back in Maine, and it's tough to take out an incumbent. It's tough to take out an incumbent, and he doesn't have Elliot Cutler anymore, because Elliot Cutler basically took some of the Democratic vote because Elliot Cutler is now in prison for child pornography. Let's see. I'm not mad. I'm not mad at Heart Light. I just said drives up the wall. Like when people come in late and they say, "Hey, it takes away the momentum, my friends. It takes away the momentum." This is the thing about momentum builds. It comes as crescendo, like I don't know, an opera. I don't know. And then we just look at Stoner Pablo, and that's how we end these things. It's the same story all the time. Yeah, I'm not. Look, yeah. After I read about Glenn today or yesterday about his private equity background, I mean, I'm glad he's a governor. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anyone in private equity running the show. Let's just put it that way. Hey, thanks, man. Thanks, James. Yeah, totally in the moment kind of guy. There's no other way around it. I'm not a fan of Glenn Young. I mean, I'm a fan relative to what he's doing. He's a private equity guy, and I don't. Why do you think is the? Why is it? I don't get the Hindenburg Omen. I don't get what the technical end is. Is that because it happened? I don't even know when it happened. When it happened, 1929 or something like that. I'm confused. I'm going to get I'm committing right now, for the record, right here. I'm going to have my inflation book done by the end of September, October, September. I'm going to have it done because I got everything I need. I just got to start typing it up. Usually when I start typing it up, I'm pretty fast. And my Roth conversion course will be done by the end of the year. I'm committed to that. I was reading somebody who said if I don't put time things, I'll never get it done. Or I was listening to some guy. I said, yes, me too. So I said, I'm going to have my thing done. I already got my stuff in my, now I got, see, that's the thing. It's like when you, man, this is why you got to think. I mean, not just think, but you have to take time in silence and quiet. There's Heart Flight. Good. She hasn't gone astray. She's still on the board. That's good. It will be a month that ends in Burr. Yes. Right on. Good stuff. All right. So Heart Flight she's cool. She's got thick skin. It'll be both, Melissa. Everything I do is Kindle and paperback. Everything I do. My best book I written, the one I like most, Jeff, is my Social Security one. The Roth one was absolutely fantastic, but my Social Security one, just because I think it's more important for more people. Hey, right on, Alan. Oh, there you go. Sweet. Anyway, that's what you got to be quiet for, because once it's quiet, then God's talking to you and he gives you ideas. He's like, or the Holy Spirit, but right, the Holy Spirit, God, Jesus, all one, Trinity. But anyway, so God's talking, and I said, so that's how I want to write my book now. I was like, how am I going to do this? Because on a book, it's got to be, you just don't want to be, you got to be not entertaining like a showman, but it's got to be of interest to keep people's attention. You see what I'm saying? And so I'm thinking the inflation myth and retirement plan, I get what I'm trying to say, but like, how am I going to make this so people actually read it and want to read it for the next chapter and the next chapter? And I wasn't quite sure, and I came up with it today. I had a pretty good idea of what I came up with today. It wasn't me. It was divine intervention. I truly believe that. That's what you want right there. They're easy reads that you can kind of burn through, but the idea gets hit in your brain. You see what I'm saying? It's like you don't want to read it and say, "What the hell did I just read?" But you also don't want to be trite. You want to be able to read it and say, "That makes sense," and without coming across like, "Oh, I'm freaking highfalutin." Yeah, you don't want any of that crap. Anyway, so going back to that's why you can retire on your Social Security. I was debating a guy today on Advisor Perspectives, as a matter of fact, to a guy who's been around for a lot longer than I've been. And he says, no one can possibly retire on Social Security. I said, I completely disagree with this guy. I mean, literally, I wrote a book on it. I'm like, I don't get how you can say that, man. You know what I'm saying? Because I literally don't know how someone can say that. And I'm waiting to hear back what he responds to that. It's like, because you can retire on Social Security. There's no other way around that. It has nothing to do with the income. It has to do with the expenses. Everyone wants to focus on the income. I said, no, you got to focus on the outflow. Once you focus on the outflow, we can make we can find out what income we need, but we can get the outflow, and the outflow is expenses. And until we get that outflow going, I don't care what your income is until we know what the outflow is. Thanks. Keep it simple, stupid. Right there, man. Right there. Yeah. 100%. My best ideas is what Joshua says. My ideas come from, I'm telling you, man. And I had a hard time doing this morning. I couldn't do it. 15 minutes. After 10 minutes, like, I'm done. It was weird, man. And part of the reason I had this damn phone next to me. So if you're going to do quiet time, put the phone that's not in hand's reach. I'm telling you, because you're going to be sitting there thinking, look, I don't text, my kids. I'm not on Facebook, all that. But it's there, you know what I'm saying? And for me, my version of social media is, what are people commenting on my channels, whatnot. So if you're going to do silent time, keep the phone away from you, like in the other room or something like that. Let it charge or something. That way you don't get, hey, wonder what's going on out there. Because that's what happened to me today. And usually 10 minutes isn't quite enough. It's that last leg of the race that's where the ideas come. You know what I'm saying? And as such, when that time comes, that's when the ideas hit. And then you'll want to stay quiet for a couple more minutes as the ideas are flowing. So yesterday, I think it was yesterday, actually, it occurred to me, so, that's how you should do this book. And I got to actually write it down. I write it down on paper. I don't type it down. I write it down on paper, not the book, but my ideas. That way I say, okay, that sounds pretty good. There's lots of studies that say actually writing things down as opposed to typing is better to get the brain cells flowing. I don't know. I mean, I assume those studies are true. Who knows anymore? But yeah, that's yeah, I'm paying 2K for Cobra right here, man. I mean, me and my family of 6, we pay 2K for Cobra. Absolutely. All right, my friends, think I'm gonna get out of here. Let's say quick prayers for this week coming up. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit, amen. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for all of your blessings. All of your blessings. We are all blessed, regardless of our lot in life. May we never forget that. We are all blessed. And how do we know? Because you sent your son to die, to be hung on a tree in the worst torture possible, to open up the gates of heaven for all who want to join you there. You don't banish anyone to hell. You invite us all in. You ask that we come because you want that personal relationship with us. Why do we turn away from you every single day? Why? I don't get it. And God, I seek your guidance and your wisdom in everything I do. And I just seek the ability to be grateful in everything I do. And I just pray for the people who are on the board here tonight. Have a good week. May we live in your glory for all we do and be grateful for everything. We pray in Jesus' name. Amen. All right, my friends. So God's good, man. He's good. We're all blessed. We're not blessed because we have good things. We're blessed because we are God's children. Yeah, I'm not. I'm just telling you, man. I mean, if that's offensive to anybody, I don't care. If loving the God is if loving the Lord is wrong, I don't want to be right, man. And God is good, man. May you go out there and kick some butts and take some names this week. Remember, man, the best way to bring people to your side with the love of Jesus is a smile. Smile, smile. Smile brings them in. Why are you so happy? Because I love Jesus and I know he loves me. I want some of that. Yeah. Say a prayer. And don't be hesitant to say, can we pray? I don't think I've ever had a guy or a lady turn down a prayer request. You know what I'm saying? I mean, maybe. I don't know. But I always pray over dinners and stuff. And anytime, if anyone's eating in my house, we always say grace. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of their lot in life. Not one person, no. I mean, they might be like thinking, I don't know what they're thinking. But don't be afraid. Well, the worst thing is because I'm going to have like, well, all right, that's fine. So I'm still praying. Because that's all that matters, man. All right, by the way, Tuesday and Thursday, 12 o'clock Eastern time. Be there or be square. You don't want to be square, do you? Because we're going to sock hop. All right, we'll see you guys. God bless.